All right, let's just dive right in. I want to tell you a quick story about my very first internship. To put it mildly, it was a total mess.
Seriously, I was just thrown into the deep end, drowning in a sea of emails and a mountain of tasks. I had absolutely no idea what actually mattered, so I spent most of my time just trying to look busy, completely overwhelmed with zero clue what was important, the signal, and what was just noise. And you know what? That feeling? It's not unique. It's actually a symptom of this huge, invisible problem plaguing the modern workplace.
So to really get a handle on this, we've got to look at the science behind that feeling of being completely swamped. Believe it or not, it actually has a formal name.
It's called cognitive load theory. Now, the easiest way to think about this is to picture your brain's working memory as a workbench. You've only got so much space on it, right? You can only juggle so many tools and projects at once before things start clattering to the floor. This whole idea started in educational psychology, but man, is it absolutely critical for understanding how we perform at work today.
And in today's world, we are constantly, and I mean constantly, maxing out that mental workbench. We're trying to multitask, our phones are buzzing with notifications, we're stuck in back-to-back meetings, and we're buried under emails. Every single one of these things is like throwing another heavy tool onto our already crowded workspace.
And what's the result of all that? Well, when our cognitive load is maxed out, our attention just shatters. We get mentally exhausted and we start making dumb mistakes. This isn't just about feeling stressed. It has real, measurable consequences for us as individuals and for the companies we work for.
Okay, so if we can all agree that we're overloaded, then the single most important skill we can develop is separating what actually matters from all the distractions. This is the classic signal versus noise problem.
This slide just nails it. The signal is the stuff that's mission critical, the work that actually moves the needle and drives results. The noise? Well, that's literally everything else. It's the busy work, the pointless meetings, the just FYI emails that make us feel productive, but in the end, lead absolutely nowhere. So the real question is, where are you spending most of your time?
And noise comes in all shapes and sizes. It's not just about getting too many emails. You've got selective perception, where we basically only hear what we want to hear. There's semantic noise, which is all that confusing corporate jargon. And then there's filtering, and this one is huge. It's when people, especially when talking to their boss, intentionally hide the bad news. That's a huge source of noise.
So how in the world do we cut through all this noise? Well, it turns out that top-tier consultants and even military leaders have a kind of secret weapon. It's a framework built for one thing: creating clarity.
It's called SCQA. That stands for Situation, Complication, Question, Answer. It is such a powerful way to structure your message because you're basically telling a logical story. You start with something everyone agrees on, then you introduce the problem. You state the key question that problem creates, and boom, you deliver your answer. It's all about respecting your audience's time by getting to the point in a way that makes sense.
And this isn't just some random framework. It was developed by Barbara Minto at McKinsey, and it is the absolute gold standard for executive communication. Why? Because it forces you to lead with a clear, compelling story. You don't just dump a bunch of data on people, you build a narrative that actually earns their attention and guides them to your conclusion.
Okay, but what if you're in a meeting and you get put on the spot? You don't exactly have time to map out a whole SCQA story. Well, don't worry, there's a framework for that too. And this one is designed for getting clear fast.
It's called PREP. Point, reason, example, point. This is your go-to for those impromptu moments because it's designed to lower the cognitive load on your listener. You lead with your main point right away, you give the reason why, you provide a really specific example, and then you circle back and state your point one more time to make sure it sticks. It's simple, it's powerful, and it's incredibly effective when you're under pressure.
And the best part about PREP is just how versatile it is. I mean, you can use it for answering a tough question in a meeting, for giving feedback, pitching a quick idea, responding to a tricky email. Really, anytime you need to make a clear, concise, and impactful point without having a lot of time to prepare.
So look, these frameworks, SCQA and PREP, they're not just clever little communication tricks. They really represent a fundamental shift in what it means to be a leader today. They are the tools for a new and, I think, essential leadership superpower.
And this right here, this is the key takeaway. In our modern economy, the best managers are no longer just managers of tasks. They are managers of their team's cognitive load. Their number one job is to create clarity, to eliminate the noise, and to free up their team's mental workbench so they can focus on the signal. But, and this is a big but, for any of this to actually work, you need the right environment. And that's where psychological safety comes in. It's the feeling that you can speak up with ideas, questions, or even admit mistakes without being punished or humiliated. Without it, fear just becomes another part of the cognitive noise, and all these frameworks are basically useless.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This isn't some feel-good concept. Google studied hundreds of its teams in something they called Project Aristotle, and they found that psychological safety was, by a long shot, the #1 predictor of high-performing teams. It mattered more than who was on the team. It was all about how they worked together.
And the payoff for getting all of this right, clear communication built on a foundation of safety, is enormous. The data is clear. Organizations with strong communication practices deliver a 47% higher total return to shareholders. This stuff directly impacts the bottom line.
So, I'll leave you with this final kind of provocative question to chew on. As a leader, are you just managing a to-do list, or are you actively managing your team's attention and their focus? Because mastering this isn't just about your own personal productivity, it's about unlocking the full potential of every single person you work with.
Hey, if you found this valuable and you want more insights like this for the tech industry to help level up your career or your business, make sure you head over to aaronwubuilds.com and definitely subscribe to this channel.
And while you're there, you should join the Inner Loop by hopping on the email list. Let's level up our business and our careers together from an architect's perspective.